Hey, it's your friend Mel, and I want you to breathe with me for a second because this is the moment we change something big. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is self-respect. And when you practice self-respect with your words, it changes who you become in rooms, your presence, your reputation, your peace. Because what you say is who you are, and how you hold yourself during someone else's storm tells the world what your standards are. Let me name what's actually draining you, because you're not crazy and you're not too sensitive. You're unprotected. You walk into a conversation fine and you leave like your nervous system got hijacked, your face is hot, your stomach is tight, your brain is replaying it on a loop. You're drafting 10 versions of the perfect comeback in the shower, in the car, in your head at 2 a.m. And then the guilt rolls in because you either snapped or you shut down or you people pleased, and now you're mad at yourself. Sound familiar? Of course it does. That is not a personality flaw. That is what happens when you sponge up someone else's mood because there was no boundary to catch it. Look, I'm human. There are days I still take my stress out on the people I love, and then I feel terrible and I have to apologize and reset. I know what it's like to feel that rush in your chest and the words start tumbling out and suddenly you're explaining and defending and over talking. And you think if you just add one more sentence, they'll finally get it. And then bam, you're in a full-on emotional mud fight. The old way is reacting, justify, over-explain, escalate. The new way is responding 1 breath to reset your body, 2 calm sentences to set the standard, and then you're done. I am going to give you the exact 2-sentence boundary you can use with family, with coworkers, with friends, with your ex, with the neighbor who corners you at the mailbox, anyone who tries to bait you into chaos. It's simple, it's direct, and it's respectful because directness is respect. A boundary isn't a debate. It's a condition for continuing. Now, I'm not going to lie to you about the hard part. The words are easy. What's hard is what you do when they mock you, when they throw, "You're so dramatic," when they guilt trip you with, "After all I've done for you," when they follow you into the next room or blow up your phone to pull you back in. We're going to practice that because your peace needs a protocol. But right now, anchor this truth. Your sensitivity is a gift, and it's not the problem your lack of protection is. The second you stop absorbing other people's storms, you stop living at the mercy of their weather. You start being the person with standards. And that starts with a breath and 2 sentences. Let's go. Okay, let's get brutally honest because I love you, and I'm not going to let you keep bleeding energy out of tiny leaks. Here's the spiral. You try to be reasonable, and they get a little snarky. So you get a little louder. They get meaner. You start stacking evidence like a lawyer who hasn't slept 2019, that birthday, that thing they said in the car, and then your voice pitches up, your chest is tight, your hands are talking for you, and the conversation is officially a dumpster fire. You hang up or walk away and immediately hate how you sounded. You replay it, you draft a paragraph text that becomes a novel, and then the shame hangover hits. Been there? Me too. I still catch myself doing it with the people I love when I'm tired and unprotected. Why does this get its hooks in you so fast? Because toxic dynamics are weirdly addictive. They pull you into proving, persuading, performing for approval. If I just explain it better, they'll be reasonable. If I just show them how logical I am, they'll calm down. If I just soften the edges, they'll finally see my heart. And then you're hooked like a lab rat pressing the lever for 1 pellet of validation. You are literally waiting for their face to give you relief. And guess who's in control of your nervous system now? Not you. This is the trap. The meltdown starts the second you try to convince someone who benefits from misunderstanding you. Read that again in your head because it will change your life. Some people, especially in their triggered state, get something out of not getting you. Power, delay, attention, control. So what is sent is not what is received. Your logic doesn't land because understanding was never the goal. The goal was pulling you off your center so they can steer. And the moment you add just 1 more sentence, you hand them the keys. Reactive, you tries to win the argument. Calm, you protects your energy and your reputation. Reactive, you performs for approval and then feels gross. Calm, you sets a standard and lets the silence do half the work. Reactive, you thinks talking more equals clarity. Calm, you knows that fewer, firmer words equal respect both ways. Which version are you bringing to the next 5 minutes? Because people don't meet the best of your intentions. They meet the words that leave your mouth. What you say is who you are to them. So here's the shift right now. Before we even get to the exact 2-sentence boundary in the next part, your goal is not to win the conversation. Your goal is to win yourself. Your next word is your power, not your next paragraph, not your dissertation, the next word. That's the steering wheel. And if you feel yourself lunging for just one more sentence, that's your cue to pause. Breathe once, literally count it, and choose the word that represents your standards, not your stress. That's how calm you walks in and reactive you sits down. Okay, here it is. Say it with me slowly, like we're putting your nervous system in the driver's seat. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. Again, slower, like you're setting a password on the door to your piece. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. One more time, because repetition makes this muscle memory. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. Why does this work? Because it's direct without being dramatic. It's calm without being passive. It doesn't diagnose them. You're not saying you're being toxic or you always yell. You're not insulting them. You're not even debating the content. You are naming your limit and stating the condition under which you'll continue. That is respectful and it is powerful. You're saying who you are and what you're available for. What you say is who you are. Remember, this says, I am a person with standards. Here's the hidden genius most people miss. A boundary isn't a conversation. It's a condition for continuing one. This isn't about whether they're right or wrong, which detail happened in 2019, or how their childhood made them this way. You're not entering the courtroom. You're setting building hours. Access to you is not guaranteed. It's conditional on respect. That flips the whole dynamic. You're no longer begging for decency. You're requiring it to proceed. Now let's talk delivery, because tone is the whole ballgame. Neutral voice, minimal facial drama, no eye rolls, no smirk, no sarcasm. This is not a performance. It's a policy. Shoulders down, unclench your jaw, soften your belly. Your breath is the first word. Inhale once, count at 1, and then say the 2 sentences. Say them once, then stop. Put your lips together, be quiet, let the silence do half the work. If your mouth starts to open with because, or I just feel like, nope, close it. The third sentence is the trap. And please hear this because it matters. This is not punishment. This is not ghosting. This is not a threat. You're not storming out to teach them a lesson. You're calmly stepping out until the standard respect is present. It's the same as shoes are required to enter. The sign doesn't hate you. It's just the condition. Every time you use this, you are becoming someone new, someone who doesn't trade dignity for connection, who doesn't barter self-respect for a scrap of approval. Directness is respect for them and for you. You're engineering the conversation by setting the frame and the end point. We talk when it's respectful. That's leadership energy. That's how you protect your reputation, your energy, your peace. So tuck it in your pocket like a mantra for the next 5 minutes of your life. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. Breath, 2 sentences. Stop. All right, we have the words. Now let's talk about the thing that knocks the wind out of you 2 minutes after you use them. Guilt. You know this loop, right? You take that breath, you say the 2 sentences, you do it calmly like a boss, and then as you step away, this weird heaviness crawls up your spine. Oh no, I was mean. I overreacted. I should go back and explain. And before you know it, you're marching back in with a PowerPoint apology and a dozen clarifications. And guess what? You're back in the mud, proving and persuading and people pleasing like the boundary never happened. That is the trap. That guilt is not wisdom. It's withdrawal from an old habit. Let me reframe this for you because it will set you free. Guilt after a healthy boundary is often just the aftershock of pattern breaking. You were conditioned, trained, rewarded to believe that being nice equals being available on demand, endlessly patient, forever flexible, and always ready to swallow your own discomfort so nobody else has to feel theirs. Of course, your body throws an alarm when you step out of that role. But hear me, that alarm belongs to the old script, not to your values. It's the smoke detector that goes off when you make toast. Loud? Yes. Accurate? No. We have confused kindness with access. Those are not the same thing. You can be kind and still have opening and closing hours. You can be compassionate and still say, not now. You can care deeply about someone and refuse to stand in the splash zone of their unprocessed anger. Kindness is how you speak. Access is how much of you they get. Unlimited access is not a virtue. It's a boundary failure. And I love you, so I'm going to be direct. Giving people your time and nervous system on demand is not kindness. It's self-abandonment dressed up as politeness. Directness is respect. When you say the two sentences, you are being more respectful than the tap dancing, hinting, eye-rolling, martyr sighing routine we all learned. You are clear. You are honest. You are giving them the condition to reconnect. That is generous. The performance where you say it's fine while you seethe and then send a passive-aggressive text later, that's confusing. And it makes people panic because what is sent is not what is received. Stop making people guess. Jump right in. Say the standard. Then be quiet. Here's your mini self-check. In the moment the guilt grabs your ankle. Is this respectful? Is this safe? Is this productive? If the answer is no, or not anymore, you are allowed to exit. You don't need a committee vote. You don't need a notarized note from your therapist. You need one breath and two sentences. If the guilt starts whispering, be nice, translate it in real time. Be clear. If it hisses, they'll be mad. Answer, they can be mad, and I can be respectful and unavailable until it's calm. You can hold both. I want you to anchor this in your identity because what you say is who you are. I am a kind person with standards, not a sponge, not a doormat, a person with standards. The guilt will visit as your old programming detoxes, and that's fine. Let it knock. You don't have to open the door. You are not waiting for permission to protect your peace. You are building a practice. Breath, 2 sentences, stop. Repeat as many times as it takes until your nervous system learns a new truth. You can be loving and leave the room. All right, let's step into the arena together because practice is where your nervous system learns. You mean it? Picture this. You're in the kitchen after a long day, or you're buckled into the passenger seat and there's nowhere to go, or you're 3 texts into a thread and you can feel your pulse in your thumbs. They start with the poke little jabs, a tease that isn't funny, a wow, calm down. And when you finally say, hey, that hurt, they hit you with the classic bait. You're so dramatic. Or there you go again, making everything about you. And you can feel it, right? The hook goes in. Because now you want to explain the entire context of the past 12 hours and the email and the thing your boss said and how you barely slept. And what do? They smirk because they got you. Old you jumps on the hamster wheel. You defend your feelings. You list receipts, April 3rd, the dinner, the text, the tone. You walk them through your intentions. You swear you're not being dramatic. You're being clear. And then your voice speeds up. Your face gets hot. And you're performing for a jury that already decided to call you dramatic no matter what you say. And then they go, see, look how worked up you are. And you want to throw a lamp. Been there. I have too. And it never once gave me the respect I was chasing. Knew you breathes once, shoulders down, jaw unclenched. And you say calmly and cleanly, exactly this. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. Period. Lips together, silence. Your breath is the first word. Your calm is the headline. No third sentence. No because. No biography. Let the policy hang in the air like a sign on the door. Shoes required. Now watch the baiter do what baiters do. Oh, wow. Look who can't handle a little feedback. Or there it is. Dramatic exit. Beautiful. That's your cue for the broken record. Same 2 sentences, same tone, no new material to argue with. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. You are a metronome. You are designing the conversation by holding the frame. If they twist your words, because what is sent is not always what is received. You can add this one clarifier to expose the signal loss without taking the bait. What did you hear me say? Let them answer. They'll say, you don't care. Or you're avoiding. Return to the boundary. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. And if this is in person, you back it up with action. Step out of the room, go for a walk, take your keys. If it's on text, you put the phone down. You do not stand there providing them with fresh targets. Please hear me. The win condition is not them nodding and agreeing and suddenly becoming enlightened. The win condition is you staying regulated and consistent. That is how you protect your reputation. That is how people learn your standard. Clever comebacks feel good for 10 seconds, and then you're in a 30-minute spiral. Consistency is boring in the moment and life-changing by Friday. What you say is who you are. And when someone baits you, your power is not in being witty, it's in being the well. One breath, 2 sentences, stop, repeat as needed. Then let your actions match your words. That's leadership. That's respect. That's you. Now let's talk about the person who doesn't bait you with insults. They guilt hook you with a character indictment. You set the boundary and they tilt their head and go, after all I've done for you, or wow, ungrateful much, or the dagger combo. You're so cold, selfish. Feel that drop in your stomach. That's the oldest lever in the book. Convert your limit into a moral failure so you scramble to prove you're still good. And you, my friend, are a good person. So your brain starts pulling up evidence like a frantic intern. The rides you gave, the money you loaned, the parties you planned, the 2 a.m. phone calls you answered. Stop. That's the trap. Here's the non-negotiable rule. Do not litigate your character in real time with someone trying to control you. The second you defend your goodness, you just agreed to their frame that your worth is on trial. And now they're the judge, the jury, and the moving goalpost. What is sent is not what is received in that dynamic. Your explanations won't land because understanding you isn't the goal. Control is. So we are not playing that game. We are going to acknowledge emotion without handing over the steering wheel to your nervous system. Empathy without access is a superpower. It sounds like this. I hear you're upset. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. That first line is optional. Use it only if you can stay steady, but it's gorgeous because it validates their feeling without agreeing to their version of you. Then you drop the boundary, clean and neutral. That's it. Breath. 2 sentences. Stop. Let's role play it. Your parent says, after everything I sacrificed, this is how you treat me. Breath. I hear you're upset. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. They go, so I'm a terrible mother now? Notice the bait to litigate? Do not enter the courtroom. Repeat. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. If they keep swinging, you move to behavior. I'm ending this call now. We can try tomorrow. Then you hang up. Not dramatic, not slamming, just alignment between your words and your feet. Partner version. Guess I don't matter to you. Breath. I hear you're hurt. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. If the accusations keep rolling, you stand up, you take your keys, you step out for a walk. Texting version. Wow, selfish. You reply once, I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. Then you stop texting. No thread to climb. Access to you is optional. Why does this work? Because you're separating feelings from behavior. Feelings valid to acknowledge. Behavior yours to gate. You are not rejecting them. You are rejecting the terms. That is kindness with a backbone. Boundaries need behavior, not speeches. And when your actions match your words, people finally learn your standard. And if they don't right away, that's okay. Your win is regulation and consistency, not their applause. Please hear me. You can be loving and still have limits. In fact, the limit is what keeps love from fermenting into resentment. You are not cold. You are clear. You are not selfish. You are self-respecting. What you say is who you are. And when you say, we will talk when it's respectful, you're engineering the end point of the conversation and protecting your reputation while you do it. So the protocol is simple. 1 breath to center, optional empathy to acknowledge, 2 sentences to set the standard, then exit if the standard isn't met. No trial, no receipts, no third sentence, empathy without access. That's your power. All right. Now we're taking this into the office, the Zoom room, the client call, because you can't always hang up on your boss or ghost a client, but you can absolutely set terms. That's the point. Work has stakes. Your reputation is your currency. What you say is who you are in that building and in that inbox. And the fastest way to look like a leader is simple. Be calm, be direct, be documentable. Here's the WorkSafe version, same spine, different suit. I'm not available to discuss this in this tone. I'm happy to revisit when it's constructive. Deliver it neutral and steady. This is not a clapback. It's a policy. You're not diagnosing their character. You're framing the conditions under which you will engage so the work can move forward. Directness is respect. Now we layer in conversation engineering because outcomes, not outrage, are the job. Values first. I want this to be productive and respectful. Then propose the endpoint and the container. Let's take 10 minutes later today and align on next steps. That line does 3 things at once. It names the values, it sets a time, and it focuses on a deliverable next steps. People argue with feelings. They respect values and logistics. Let's role play it. Your manager raises their voice in a stand-up. Why is this late? This is ridiculous. You breathe once, shoulders down. I want this to be productive and respectful. I'm not available to discuss this in this tone. I'm happy to revisit when it's constructive. Let's take 10 minutes at 2 p.m. to align on next steps. Then stop. If they push, oh, so you're sensitive now? You don't debate your sensitivity. You repeat the frame. Broken record, professional addition. I want this to be productive and respectful. I'm happy to revisit when it's constructive. 2 p.m. works. Reputation math time, because this matters. The calm, short, values-forward sentence makes you look like the adult in the room. It signals judgment, self-control, and focus on outcomes. Reactive ranting, even when you are 100% right, reads as unstable to onlookers. What is sent is not what is received. People won't parse your intent. They'll remember your delivery. Use delivery that builds trust. Now, your escalation ladder, no drama, just process. Step 1, boundary. I'm not available to discuss this in this tone. Step 2, reschedule with a goal. Let's take 10 minutes later today and align on next steps. Step 3, add a third party if tone or scope keeps slipping. To keep this on track, let's loop in Jordan so we can align. Step 4, document. Send a neutral recap email or message. Recap of 11:30 conversation. Agreed to reconvene at 2 to align on next steps for the Q3 deck. I'll bring the timeline options. Goal, productive, respectful discussion to finalize owners and dates. Facts, times, owners. No adjectives. Step 5, HR if patterns persist. I'm requesting support to ensure productive and respectful collaboration. Attaching previous recaps for context. That's not tattling. That's governance. Client version, all caps, email lands in your inbox. You reply once, short and steady. I want this to be productive and respectful. I'm happy to revisit when it's constructive. I can meet at 3 p.m. to confirm scope and next steps. Then you stop replying to heat and start replying to structure. Your power move at work is the same as everywhere. Breath, 2 sentences, then action. But here, the boundary isn't just protection, it's leadership language. It safeguards your reputation, it steers the room, and it creates a paper trail that backs you up. Calm is your competitive advantage. Use it. Let's talk about the little rectangle that wrecks your nervous system at 9:56 p.m. Because screens are sneaky and toxic. People love texting. Why? It extends access and invites impulsive replies. The ping hits, your stomach drops, and your thumbs sprint ahead of your brain like 2 tiny gremlins with Wi-Fi. And guess what? What is sent is not what is received in writing either. Tone doesn't travel. Emojis don't save you. And now you're drafted into a late night trial you never agreed to. We are not doing that anymore. Here's your pause protocol for everything typed. Read it once, breathe once, wait 20 minutes. Your breath is the first word, even in writing. Set a timer if you have to. Put the phone face down. Stand up. Get water. Let your body catch up so your words can represent your standards, not your spike. If it's an emergency, they can call. If it's not, it can wait. You're not on emotional DoorDash. Now, the script, shorter and slower because access to you is optional in writing. I'm not available to talk about this right now. We can revisit when it's respectful. That's it. 2 sentences. No paragraph. No bullet pointed evidence. No midnight essay you regret. In the morning when your screenshots star in a group chat you can't see, what you say is who you are. And in text, your words live forever. So make them calm, brief, and boring. Directness is respect. If they fire more heat, wow, so you're ghosting me? You do not explain the sociology of boundaries. You repeat, then you stop. I'm not available to talk about this right now. We can revisit when it's respectful. Then you back it up with behavior. Mute the thread, put your phone on do not disturb, turn off read receipts if that helps your anxiety, schedule send your response for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Tools are boundaries too. Group chat rules, because public pile-ons are gasoline. Do not defend yourself in the arena. Public debates feed the dynamic and make bystanders your audience. Your delivery becomes your reputation and nuance dies. Go neutral and private or disengage. Neutral looks like noted. I'll DM you to coordinate, or I'm stepping out of this thread. Happy to revisit one-to-one when it's respectful. Then leave the chat, mute it, or restrict who can tag you. That's not petty. That's governance for your nervous system. If someone misreads you because they will resist the urge to drop a dissertation, sent is not equal to received. One clarifier, if absolutely necessary, still short and steady. To clarify, I'm not available for this right now. We can revisit when it's respectful. Then stop. Every extra sentence is an invitation to argue with a new noun. You are engineering the conversation, even on a screen. You choose the timing, the tone, and the container. Slow is smooth, smooth is kind. Breath, 2 sentences. Stop, mute. Access to you is optional. And when you write like that, you're not a sponge on standby. You're a person with standards, even in your DMs. All right, here's the part nobody tells you, because it's messy and it's real. When you start holding a standard, people who liked the old access are going to rattle the gate. That doesn't mean you're wrong. It means the system is recalibrating. Your job is not to win their accusation. It's to repeat your policy and back it up with action. Do not argue their framing. If you debate their claim, you're already off your center and you just open negotiations on your own standards. We're not doing that anymore. Pushback number 1 shows up like this. You can't tell me how to talk. Breath, 1 degree calmer. Lower your volume, slow your pace, soften your face. Say this exactly. Steady and neutral. You can talk any way you want. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. Notice what you just did. You didn't police them. You affirmed their freedom and asserted your boundary. That's leadership. That's respect. And then you stop. If they huff and puff, you repeat it once. Same tone, same words. And if they keep going, you act. End the call, leave the room, or if it's digital, stop responding and mute. The second you've said it twice, behavior takes over. Words, then feet. Pushback number 2 is the classic gaslight wrapped in concern. So now you're giving me the silent treatment. They want to paint your pause as cruelty. So you'll rush back in to prove you're kind. You are kind and you're clear. Here's your line. I'm not shutting you out. I'm pausing this until it's respectful, short, calm, boring on purpose. If they push wow petty, you don't litigate pettiness. You repeat, I'm pausing this until it's respectful, then act. End the call. Step out. Silence that thread. You are not abandoning them. You're refusing to abandon yourself. Pushback number 3 goes right for your heart. If you loved me, you'd stay. Ouch! That one is designed to make you prove love by tolerating harm. Love without standards isn't love, it's fear. Your response is both warm and firm. I do care about you. I'm not available for disrespect. That's it. 1 sentence of care, one sentence of policy. If they escalate, guess not, you don't try to rescue your image. You repeat the policy once and you leave the moment. What you say is who you are, and your exit is the period at the end of your sentence. Here's the operational rule that will change your life. Do not match their intensity. Lower yours by 1 degree. If they're at a 9, you go to a 6. If they jump to a 6, you sit at a 4. Your nervous system is the thermostat, not the thermometer. One breath, slower words, fewer words. This is conversation engineering in real time. You're setting the frame, the value, and the endpoint. And your disengaged trigger is non-negotiable, so your body trusts you. After you've calmly repeated the boundary twice, you act. No third repetition, no new sentences, end the call. Leave the room, stop texting. If they accuse you on your way out, let the policy you already spoke stand as the answer. Scent is not always received in the heat, so you don't keep resending. You protect the signal by leaving the static. Don't debate. Repeat the boundary. Back it up with action. 1 degree calmer, twice said. Then you move. That is how you stop absorbing their mood and start shaping your own reputation. Calm, direct, respectful, and done. Okay, you did it. You breathed. You said the 2 sentences. You backed it up with action. And now your body is buzzing like you just outran a bear. Your hands are shaking. Your jaw is tight. Your brain is running the replay like it's the Super Bowl, and you're the only commentator. Did I overreact? Should I go back? Maybe one more text to explain, and I want you to hear me like I'm right here holding your shoulders. This is normal. It's adrenaline. It's the residue. Your nervous system got loud because you changed the script. The boundary is the moment. The integration is the habit. Reset your body so you don't crawl back for relief. Here's how you reset, fast and kind. 1 minute, right now. Stand up and move. Walk to the end of the hall or outside to the mailbox. Any forward motion tells your body we're safe now. Get water, yes. Actual water. Sip it slow because your exhale is the message and your breath is the first word. Name 5 things you see out loud. Blue mug, cracked sidewalk, the plant that needs help, the car door, that weird cloud shaped like a duck. Then 4 things you can touch, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, 1 you can taste. It's cheesy and it works because it drags your brain out of the fight and back into your body. Shoulders down, unclench your jaw, inhale for 4, exhale for 6. Do that 3 times. Slow is smooth, smooth is kind. Now we stop the mental spiral with a script that becomes your internal seatbelt. Say this, steady and simple. I did the respectful thing. I'm safe. I'm done. Again, slower. I did the respectful thing. I'm safe. I'm done. That third line, I'm done, is the door latch that keeps you from sprinting back in to manage their feelings. If your fingers are itching to type a novella, set a 20-minute timer and do nothing until it goes off. Screens make you think urgency equals importance. It doesn't. What is sent is not what is received when you're flooded, so don't send. If you do need to circle back, do it like a leader, not a firefighter. Schedule it. Set an endpoint. Agree on values before content. That sounds like, I want this to be respectful and productive. Can we take 15 minutes tomorrow at 10 to align on next steps? You just framed the conversation, you gave it a container, and you engineered the endpoint. When you re-enter, keep the standard at the top. I want to make sure we both feel respected. Here's what I'd like to leave with today. That's how your words protect your reputation while you repair the connection. After you've come down, do a quick boundary audit. Where did you leak? Did you add a 3rd sentence? Defend? Apologize for having a limit? Beautiful, note it without beating yourself up. Then adjust your script for next time. Maybe your 2 sentences get even shorter. Maybe your exit needs to be sooner. Practice once out loud in the mirror like a dork. I do it. It works so your mouth remembers when your heart is racing. And please, celebrate the identity evidence you just created. You protected yourself without becoming cruel. That matters. What you say is who you are. And today you said, I am kind and I have standards. Your nervous system is learning you mean it. Every rep makes the guilt quieter and the calm faster. Breathe, walk, water, 5 things you see, seatbelt script. I did the respectful thing. I'm safe. I'm done. Schedule if needed. Audit, adjust, repeat. This is how you stop being a sponge and start being a person with standards moment by moment, breath by breath, conversation by conversation. All right, let's land this together because you've got everything you need, and I want this in your mouth by tonight. 1 breath, 2 sentences, stop talking, repeat once, disengage with action. That's the whole protocol. In 1 exhale pause, so your nervous system catches up, say the calm, direct boundary. Don't add a 3rd sentence. If they push you, repeat it once like a metronome, and then you back it up with your feet, your phone on mute, your calendar invite behavior over biography. That's it. Simple doesn't mean easy, but it does mean doable. And you, my friend, are more than capable. Let me re-anchor you in the truth that changes everything. What you say is who you are. Your words create your identity, your reputation, and your peace. People experience you through your delivery, not your intentions. And when you choose clear, short, respectful language, you are building a brand called I am calm and I have standards. Directness is respect. Sent is not always received, which is why you keep it clean and you stop at 2 sentences so there's less static to distort. Now go practice. Pick 1 relationship and 1 situation, you already know which one, and rehearse out loud today. Because your mouth needs reps when your heart is racing. In the car, in the shower, walking the dog. Say it exactly like this. I'm not available for this conversation. We can talk later when it's respectful. Again, again, again. Make your tongue familiar. So, in the moment, your body doesn't reach for an essay. And please expect to be imperfect. You are going to add a 3rd sentence once. You're going to overexplain. You're going to walk back in and then catch yourself 2 steps later. And guess what? That's progress. Catching yourself sooner is the win. Returning to the script faster is the win. You're retraining a lifetime pattern, and every rep is evidence. You can trust you. Hear me like I'm right in your ear. You are allowed to protect your energy. You are allowed to require respect. You don't need to fix toxic people. You need to protect your peace with words that match your standards. I freaking love your courage. I am so proud of you. In case nobody told you today, I love you and I believe in you. If this helped, and I know it did, because you're the kind of person who wants better relationships and a calmer life, hit follow and subscribe so these tools stay in your pocket. Share this with the friend who absorbs everybody's mood. They need the 2-sentence script. And drop a comment with the pushback line you need help with. I'll coach you on the exact words. You're not here to be a sponge. You're here to be a person with standards. Breath. 2 sentences. Stop. Repeat once. Then move. You've got this.